How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about 14 people being shot at a funeral in Chicago. Now, luckily, nobody has died as of yet. Right around 12 noon, Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020, nobody has died as of yet. But I think there is at least one person in critical condition fighting for their life. Now, I got to back up a little bit here and talk about the situation a little bit before we get into any details. Now, when you have some of these hood funerals, low income area, black area, inner city, you're going to have violence that happens. That's not even an uncommon thing to have shootings at funerals, fights at funerals. It's not really uncommon. I've been to a funeral that had armed security inside the funeral. I've also seen funerals with squad cars outside. Matter of fact, this funeral in Chicago where the shooting happened had a squad car assigned to it because they had been tipped off that it could be a retaliatory strike at the funeral because the guy that died, he was 31 years old, got shot and killed on the street. All right. So that could have been some gang stuff, some neighborhood beef, who knows? Whatever the case may be, the police were kind of prepared for this kind of thing to happen, this kind of violence to happen. But even with people at the funeral having their guns and being able to shoot back, even with the police having a squad car there, you still had 14 people shot at the funeral. I think it might have been a drive-by. They're talking about the car that was involved was stolen. Matter of fact, there's video of this particular incident. It's not necessarily showing you who's shooting. You can kind of get a general idea of what's going on. If you want to see that, I'll link to it in the box below. Obviously, we're on YouTube. I cannot play that right here because video would get striked off the internet immediately, but I digress. Now, let's get back to the shooting at the funeral. Like I said, this is not necessarily uncommon. You have funeral shootings a lot in these types of areas. Now, we know about Chicago in general. It's a violent place. It's a dangerous place where things like this happen. Now, the thing about the funeral shooting is not just part of Chicago violence. It is, but at the same time, it's not, because from this time last year, shootings are up in Chicago by 50%. So you're talking about a surge in crime in an already violent place. When you talk to the residents that are there, they're not into this whole defund the police or police reform. They need more police because from their point of view, and they're right when they say this, from their point of view, they're living in the war zone. Things are getting real bad. People getting shot and killed every day. They need more police presence, not less police presence. When you want to do quote unquote police reform and or defund the police, the objective and the goal is going to be the same. You're going to have less police. You're going to have less restrictive police, which means more dangerous areas. If you go to the hood, if you go to these low income areas, if you ask these people, what do you want? They're not going to say, oh, we need police reform. We need monies diverted from the police over here to mental health. They're not going to say that. They're going to say we need more security. We need less crime, less shooting, less killing. All right. Trying to send out a guidance counselor from your local high school to a violent gangbanger infested, drug infested, violence infested area is not going to do anything but get that person hurt and possibly killed. You got to have more police, tougher police, and have them with better funding, better equipment so they're able to go out there and help the community reduce crime. Now, of course, it does take the community to cooperate. You can't just say, all right, let's fund the police more. Let's put more officers out there. But the neighborhood, they don't want to tell when they know who's shooting. That's one thing I will say the mayor said that was right, because after the shooting happened, she's like, look, we cannot be harboring these criminals, fugitives. If you know something, say something. You got to get the community to cooperate. That's for sure. But if there's no safety, if there's no backup, if there's no help for these people, then what are they going to do? You're going to get them to snitch to only have the guy go to jail and get out in 2 years. What's the purpose? So the guy can come home from jail and then kill the person that told on him? It doesn't make any sense. Or have his friends will do the same thing. You got to have the community and the police and the local governments all on the same page. If the community say we need more policing, we need more security, and the police are willing to do it, you can't have local government, the mayor, alderman, or whatever, come in and just put the kibosh on that, talking about, oh, well, I know you didn't told on little man that shot 18 people all right, we're going to arrest him and get him a kangaroo court trial, give him 2 years in the penitentiary. That's not really how you go about it. You got to have everybody on the same page. And speaking about everybody being on the same page, the mayor of Chicago, just a little while before this whole thing happened at the funeral, dismissed any kind of help from Trump when you're talking about federal agents. I think there's a program they have going on right now. When I say that, I mean the federal government, called Operation Legend, named after a little boy that was shot and killed while he was sleeping. I think he might have been 4 years old. They did it first in Kansas City to reduce the crime and the violence there, and they want to have that happen in other parts of the country. They want to do it in Chicago, sending them about 100 to 200 federal agents to calm that violence down, to counteract all the shootings and the killings and just the general mayhem that's happening in the city. All right, they need the help. A lot of governments, a lot of mayors are requesting the help, and it makes sense to me. If the violence is getting out of control to the point where you can't do anything about it, then you're going to need federal help. Now, some are going to say, oh, well, the federal help is going to inflame the tension. It'll make things worse. They're trying to say that over in Portland, Oregon. I think it might have been the mayor, Ted Wheeler, talking about, well, things were going better before you brought the federal agents in. But you're talking about 55 nights of continued violence day after day. What was the actual plan before the federal agents came in to just let things just to continue, let the riots continue and then let it die down on its own? I mean, how many people are going to get injured, killed? How many more businesses are going to get looted? How much more damage can your city take before you say, okay, we're going to go and act and find a way to stop the situation from spreading? I think that if you have more of these violent outbreaks, these riots, like, we're past the point of protesting. Ain't no more protests. I said it before, things kind of spiral out of control. Things were already kind of bad when I said it, but now they're worse. What I said was there are no more peaceful protests. Ain't no more either you out there rioting or you're not. That's pretty much all that's going on. If you're out there calling yourself quote unquote peaceful, all you're doing is just aiding in those that are going to be out there rioting. Very simple. If you see night after night in Portland, it's the same old thing that happens. It's riots, it's chaos, it's violence, it's destruction. And you go out there talking about I'm peaceful, save the birds, save the trees. It's like, what are you thinking about? All you're doing is just aiding in those that are out there engaging in violence. You're just adding to the body count. You're just another person that the police got to deal with in some kind of way, whether that's to protect or to arrest. At the end of the day, as I close, hopefully everybody that was shot in Chicago makes a full recovery. Like I said, as of right now, nobody has died. Hopefully it stays that way. And hopefully we have less of these kinds of shootings, not only in Chicago, but also New York, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Kansas City, St. Louis, all over the United States. All right, let's have less of this violence. And if the federal government want to come help you, then why not help? I mean, what's really the big? You got senators and governors and mayors talking about we don't want Trump's help here. Is it because you don't like Trump? Is it a political thing? Or do you think that his help is not going to actually help? If Trump is sending federal agents to your city, obviously there's something that you in leadership aren't doing right. Obviously, the local police are being overwhelmed or they're not able to do their job because of the city government, or both. And I got to add one last thing here. This was a mass shooting. You're talking about 15 people, 14 people that got shot. This was a mass shooting. A mass shooting, as the mainstream media define it as, is 4 or more people that get shot at once. So you're talking about 14, 15 people that get shot at once. That is a mass shooting. It doesn't require that they die. All it requires is that they get shot. That's it. This was a mass shooting. You have mass shootings every single day in the hood, as they say. So why do we ignore these mass shootings? And when I say we, I mean the media, politicians. Why do we ignore these mass shootings and prop up the ones that involve a white person and non-white victims? Let's get past the racism. Let's get past the political pandering and look at things for what they really are. let's send help where it's really needed. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that I'm correct when I say that we should send federal help to cities that are just under siege right now? They're having really high increases in crime because of these so-called protests, really riots, insurrections, and also, I don't know, other factors. The virus is going on. People don't have no money. I think the virus is less of the issue, and more of the issue is a general air of lawlessness that's been accepted and encouraged by local leadership. That's kind of what's going on. You set the tone. When you allow your city to get looted, burned, destroyed by the so-called protesters, that same energy, that same, oh, it's okay to do whatever I want is going to carry on throughout. And if you don't do anything about it, that's going to continue for an extended period of time. But am I wrong? Should Trump just let the federal agents stay wherever they are and not get sent to these major cities? What's going to be the actual solution to all the crime that's happening in the cities right now? If you can't have federal agents, if you want to defund the police, you want to quote unquote reform the police, same thing as defund, what are you going to do about all the violence? What's going to be the appropriate solution? Because you got to do something. Some are saying just let it riot. So what? They voted for them. But not everybody in Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago voted for these people. You have some conservative people that are there, regular, innocent, everyday normies, low income people that can't really move. They're just kind of stuck and have no way to really defend themselves. What about them? Just let them stay there? What is a solution if not for the federals to come? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.
I wish it would stop, and that we're glad the federal troops are here in Chicago because the violence is literally just as worse as the Pandora. The Pandaras. Yes, and so, I mean, we need more cops and federal troops because it's literally like we're in Iraq or something.